If I can have your attention, please. We'll ask everyone to be seated at this time. We want to welcome everyone here at the chapel as well as many that are viewing the service remotely. Just a gentle reminder for those of you present here in the chapel, if you have a cell phone with you, please place it in the silent mode or turn it off completely. That would be appreciated. Immediately following the service, Shiva will be observed at the Gassel residence in Glenview at 927 North Leamington Avenue. Again, that's 927 North Leamington Avenue in Glenview. Thank you.
I think as we get older, we have to wear glasses, right? Can everyone hear me? We're good? All right, this is not my speech. So it's kind of surreal that we're actually all here, right, celebrating this. Jodi and I wanted to start by saying good afternoon and thank you all for being here and honor the life of our dad. As I look around the room, there is so much to be thankful for. Losing a parent is something that you can't prepare yourself for. The thought of never seeing Dad's face or hearing his voice seems to be what is the most difficult to wrap our minds around. We are here to celebrate the life of an absolutely amazing man. Our dad, as you know, would give everything and anything to his girls. Jodi happened to find a letter from Dad to both of us in his nice little handwriting, letting us know how much he loved us and how proud he was to be our dad and that we were the greatest gifts to him. Today, I personally want to celebrate the man who meant the world to me. He was my hero, my voice of reason, my dad. There are people in life whose presence fills a room, even if they're only like to stay there for a short period of time. That was my father. He never stayed in one place for long, but you always knew when he had been there, his energy, his voice, his comments, truthful or straightforward, it all left a mark. He didn't just exist in our lives, he made his presence felt in the boldest, most unforgettable ways. He had a smile that can light up the darkest room and a personality that was just as bright. He was loud, he was honest, and he never had a problem speaking the truth. And somehow, no matter what was going on, he always knew what to say to make everything better. When life got overwhelming, he was the one I turned to. He was my calm, my compass, my grounding force. He would do anything for me. He was a person I can count on to be there without question. No matter what I needed, he showed up, fully, fiercely, and without hesitation. But his greatest gift, the one I will carry with me always, was how deeply and unconditionally he loved us. He loved me, he loved my sister, and his grandchildren with every ounce of his heart. That love was loud too, like everything else about him. It wasn't hidden. He told us, he showed us, and he lived it. When I hear the song, I would play for him while he was in the nursing home, "You'll Always Be My Hero." I wish I could play it for him just one more time, although he would let me play it for just a little bit before he would let me know he had enough. He was done, with tears rolling down his cheeks. Over the past years, it became more apparent to me how I saw my daddy. He truly was my hero, my safe place, my protector, my biggest supporter. He taught me what strength looks like, not just in the loud moments, but in the way he stood tall for our family, in the way he loved so completely. I miss him more than words can express, but I know he's still with me in every decision I make, in every lesson I pass on, and every time I smile through the tears, he's there. Dad, you will always be my hero, and I will forever be yours. All right, sis.
My dad coached most of my softball teams. And when he wasn't coaching, he was getting kicked out of games by pretty much every umpire. He always coached third base and was very aggressive. He always dared teams to make the perfect throw, especially with me. Most of the time I was safe, and every once in a while they made the perfect throw to get me out. I always got so mad, but he just laughed and told me that it was okay. There was one game that I will always remember. It was the first game of a tournament. I played left center, and there was a line shot right at me. Instead of taking it on a hop, I ran in trying to catch it. The ball hit the ground and went right under my glove. We lost the game. I remember crying that I let my team down, but thinking back, I was crying because I felt I let my dad down. One thing I will never forget about that day is when my dad and I were walking back to the car, sort of a made-for-TV Hallmark moment. He put his arm around me and he said, "It's okay, shake it off. Next time you'll catch it." He really did always make everything all right. This moment really captured who my dad was, just like my sister so eloquently expressed. He was always there for me through good times and bad. I always knew that he had my back. He never judged. He just showed up. He was present and always there for me and my sister. I was with him the night before he passed. He ate, drank a little bit, and was pretty lucid. He seemed a little more calm as he wasn't perpendicular to his bed. But before I left, I kissed him on the forehead and told him that I loved him. The next morning he passed. I started thinking to myself, well, why now? Like, what actually let him go? He was okay the night before. What happened? Then I spoke to my cousin Rob. He said to me, "Jodi, you won't believe this, but I had a dream the other night that Grandma and Papa were with your dad." Then I knew. They came and got him. They put their arms around him and told him it was okay, that it was time to go. Time of death was 8:20 a.m., his sister Annie's birthday. Today is my grandmother's birthday. And he always had a little picture, right by his bed in the nursing home of my grandparents. And now he gets to be with them. So my dad always told us, talking about speaking loudly and honestly, that all he wanted at his funeral were his grandchildren to speak. So I leave it with his oldest grandson, Jason, who will start.
When I was in high school, I, like many of my peers, enjoyed sleeping in late on the weekend, especially after a night spent in Evanston or Wilmette, hanging with my friends from School of Rock, which my grandfather helped pay for. My room being on the top level, far removed from the louder areas of our house on Nokomis, it was all too easy for me to sleep well into Saturday or Sunday afternoon. Neither Kendra cooking us a delicious breakfast, nor my mom vacuuming for the 5th time today could stir me up and out of my bed. When Papa came over on one of his weekly morning visits, I would always get up to greet him. Not because I was just so excited to see him, no. It was mainly because he would come barreling down the upstairs hallway and burst through my door screaming like a madman as I startled awake in a cold panic. My grandfather was not subtle about the way he showed us love. He would treat my brothers and I by taking us for toys, a coveted experience for any kid, though most of our joy would come from the time spent observing Papa and his irreverent way of interacting with the world. When it came to money, he was always so generous to us. He once told me that he wanted to see his grandchildren enjoy his gifts while he was still alive. This rationale was never lost on me. When talking with us, he would endearingly refer to our rotten personalities and say things like, "What are you, an idiot?" when we said something that displeased him. My mom and I actually used to play a game where we would call him and make up scenarios in which I was somehow wronged just to listen to his obscene reactions and get a rile out of him. To those who didn't know him, it would be hard sometimes to recognize these acts and the things he said to us as acts of love and affection. But as his grandchildren, we learned early on and were constantly reminded of how much he loved us. I'll never forget when Papa took us all to Disney World, a trip that was particularly meaningful because he took our entire family, including Kendra and our soon-to-be cousothers and cousisters, Daniel and Jessye, and my bubby, all of us, on one week-long or however long it was trip to Disney World. I'll also never forget the smaller things, like when he would take me to get French toast sticks at the Burger King just a few minutes from our house in Lincolnwood. No matter how big the action, or how small the gesture, how rude the insult, or how terse the conversation, it was always known that everything came from a place of love. On several occasions, Papa talked about how he envisioned his funeral, even going so far as to ask us to write and perform our eulogies at his birthday party. I never understood why he'd want something so morbid. Now that the day has finally come, I find myself reflecting on the importance of communicating your love to your loved ones while you still can. Papa, you asked me if I knew how much I loved you, and I would always reply, yes, I do. I just hope that you know how much that I loved you too.
All right, bear with me. 3709 Glenview Road. I type the address into the map until I don't have to anymore. Until driving there became second nature. Take a deep breath before walking in through the doors, the double set of doors, and taking the elevator up to the third floor, up to my papa. The moment I'd walk through his door, tears would instantly well up in his eyes without fail every time. He loved me as I loved him, fiercely and forever. Instead of being afraid of what this disease has done to Papa's mind, I instead used this as an opportunity to truly get to know who Papa Don was. Because despite the sickness, Papa's memories were never erased. They weren't gone. They were now within, even the answers to math problems. One of my favorite things to do with Papa over the past few years was to fill out his weekly menu with him, sitting side by side. Something so simple, yet so important to him. And that's how Papa was. He just appreciated you being there for the small tasks. He didn't even need you to talk. All he really wanted was a hand to hold and someone to get him whatever he needed. And that's what we all did for him. Every single day, every single night, repeat. Sweet Papa Don. I would do it all over again in a heartbeat. I would sit in the uncomfortable wooden chair next to your clunky bed with your favorite green blanket. As the TV plays so loud, we both look at each other and laugh. I wouldn't even be mad if I saw your name pop up on my phone with 20 missed phone calls attached to it. I would just call you back and say, I love you, Papa, as soon as you answered. Papa, I love you. I thank you for showing up to my games, for attempting to help me with my math homework, but most of all, for never quitting on us. Papa Don was not a quitter. He was a man who knew who he was, and he was unapologetically himself. He spoke his mind, and he made his opinions clear. He was the funniest person I ever knew. There will never be another Papa Don. Not in this lifetime, at least. But I will spend the rest of my life carrying Papa Don with me. The memories, the love, the conversations, the jokes, the dinners shared. Most importantly, his smile. I will let him shine through me. In the end, Papa Don relied on us to take care of him. But I think it's important to note that we all spent our lives relying on him. And I know I speak on behalf of everyone in this front row mainly, and Bubby as well, that, we all spent our lives relying on him. And we want to say thank you. Thank you for showing us all how to express love and not just tell. Actions speak louder than words, and in the very end, that's all Papa had, actions. The tears that would fall when he would receive a visitor, the weak hand he would extend if you were by his side, the smile that would appear on his face after I'd brush that head of hair. I love you, Papa, and I will always hear you telling me I am proud of you and I love you. I wish that I could linger in your doorway one more time. But for now, Papa, we remember you for all that you are. I want you each to take a second and think about who Papa Don was to you and hold on to it. Remember it, cherish it, because a piece of him will stay with all of us forever. You all being here means the world to him. It's all he wanted and all he would talk about in the end. And with that, I will spend the rest of my days missing that beautiful smile. I love you, Papa. I hope you never leave my side like I never left yours. I will see you again one day, and it's your turn to wait for the elevator up. Take care of him up there, and thank you all in memory of Donald Larry Israel.
Damn. One time, Papa had come to pick me and my brothers up from our house in Lincolnwood in his red Lexus. And I was the last one to the car after my brothers. And right as I reached for the door, the car had moved forward. I walked towards the car again, reached towards the door handle again, and then the car moved forward again, this time further. We made it a few houses down before I finally opened the car door, only for the sounds of Papa and my brothers laughing to quickly faint as the car moved forward again. We made it down the whole block before I finally got in the car. And being, at the time, a youngest brother, I was often the target of many jokes and pranks. But when I got in the car, when I got in that red Lexus, I couldn't help but laugh. For one, it was pretty funny. It was funny. But also, as many close to Papa, and as many of us have already said, and I, even at a very young age, knew he wouldn't give you a hard time if he didn't care about you. So, yeah, Papa was funny. He was blunt, generous, and an instigator. Qualities that I think me and my brothers and my cousins all carry on. So, although physically our Papa is at rest, his spirit does live on through all of us.
All right. Bear with me. I'm better at speaking in front of a bunch of children instead of a bunch of adults, but I will try my best. When I think of my grandpa, I find it hard to even know where to begin. Having to write something for someone who meant the world to you isn't easy. That I always kind of figured. But they don't really tell you how to write something for someone who was like a Superman to you for so long. Now, he was not saving cats from trees, or definitely not solving world peace. But running up to him and watching him somehow get taller and taller the closer I got to his legs always made me feel safe. Like this huge oaf is here, and now no one can hurt me. He'd wrap his arms around me as I hugged him, and sometimes I felt so small that it seemed like he could wrap his arms around me twice and still have room to say, "Give me some skin," and dap me up. When I found myself looking up at him, I knew two things for sure. One, I was going to laugh, eventually, at some point that day. And two, I was safe. Growing up, my cousins never felt like cousins to me. Lucky for me, I got to experience being the middle child, and for a while, being the youngest out of a group of boys. Luckily for me, we passed that torch to Noah very quickly, and both built a lot of character. Family was important to him, and he made sure that that translated through our lives. I don't think I've ever gone through something alone. I have a sister to call for everything. Sound familiar? A brother to boss around because everyone says I care too much. And cousins that would drop anything for me. Parents, aunts, and an uncle who would do just about anything to see me happy. He never gave himself credit for this, but that's all a direct result of him. We all grew up with two things in mind: taking care of our own and making people laugh. Some people may have found it hard to understand him, but please know there was never a time that I did not understand him. I saw so much of myself in him, and as I got older, it became more and more clear that I am very obviously his grandchild. I'll never forget the moment I realized I was a little too much like my Papa Don. It hit very quickly when I went to college and realized not a single soul had relatable stories of their grandparents. Oh, my grandpa took us golfing for Christmas and we all got brunch after. That's really sweet. My grandpa told us every year that Santa's brother Caesar ran Santa and his reindeer over with his car. It became very clear when I was at school and the world's funniest joke to me would come out of my mouth, and the look on everyone's face would be a good, healthy mix of horrified and confused. Social cues, Lili, social cues was a constant. Moments like those made me feel so close to him, despite being so far away, as silly as that sounds. Let me make things very clear. I would not change having him as my grandfather for the world. I said it before, but he taught me that we are put on this earth to laugh and everything else is just extra. This philosophy has gotten me through some of the hardest times and some of the best times, all with a smile on my face, accompanied by giggles, and of course, my family. I can only hope that as I get older, I create and uphold a family that values each other the same way ours does. That my non-existent children lean on their cousins when they want to laugh and when they need to cry. That there isn't a single thing that they'd feel uncomfortable coming to their aunts and uncles about. That those same children and cousins will inevitably spend countless hours driving around and terrorizing people in the most obnoxious fashion because they think it's hilarious, just like we did. That's when I'll know that I've succeeded. The love you hold for grandparents, it compares to nothing, and it's irreplaceable. I think that's made very clear as we make our way through different stages of life. I miss him, and I won't ever stop missing him, but that's kind of the beauty of life, to know someone in such a special way that you spend the rest of your life missing them. It was a pleasure to know him like that, and it'll be a pleasure to miss him. He won't see me get married, and he won't see me have kids. But during each of those life events, I know I'll laugh to myself knowing that he would be looking at me smiling and go, well, look what finally having a personality gotcha. So, yeah. I miss him and I love him. Thank you all for being here.
So a few of the grandchildren have not been able to make it. Hi, so Noah is not here, and Wayne is going to speak on his behalf, and Brandon is also out of town, and a video will be played with his voice. So,
Two things. One thing before I speak for Noah is that, I mean, it's true. All he ever said was talk about his funeral at the happiest times, at the weirdest times, and he'd say, what are you going to say at my funeral? What are you going to say? And make sure that all my grandkids talk. So that smile is beaming 1,000,000 times more right now because he got what he wanted. So that's number one. And number two, everyone thinks he looks like Harrison Ford, but he's Lee Marvin, okay? He'll always be Lee Marvin in my opinion. Anyway. And lastly, real quick, I'd be remiss if I didn't say he taught me so much about parenthood. I think he never knew, but I know he knows how much he taught me, so thank you. Anyway, so Noah can't be here, so he wrote some words, and so from here on, I am Noah. In the words of Noah Youkhana to his Papa Don, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to make it right now. I hope this will suffice. I still remember all the Saturday mornings my papa would stop by my house, unannounced. He'd chase my mom around the house with his dentures, or have a gift in tow, or dangle me from my legs and remind me of the made-up fact that I was adopted. Through this, though, I always understood that it was his way of showing me he loved us. I could see it in the time he spent sitting with me, watching WWE or something else he surely would rather not be doing, and in the smile and chuckle he'd give you whenever you got a good punch in when retorting to his good jives. He was a man that could take it just as hard as he dished it out. Most importantly, I could see it in his willingness to help out and be there for my family at any moment and offer anything that's needed. He was always there for us. I've struggled with the fear of death for the majority of my life. It's something that's terrified me, just as I'm sure at some point it has many of you. But I've come to realize that we truly die once our time comes. We live on in the memories others hold of us, in the subtle ways we've impacted and changed each other and the world around us, in the flowers we plant, metaphorically or literally, and in the marks we left on this earth. Through us, Don lives on. I'll leave with this. While we all may be sad on this day, I must note that it is a blessing to have someone you miss so dearly and to be missed so dearly. To have loved and lived so much that a room full of people you love mourn your loss. I'll never forget my papa, and I'll always love him dearly, as I'm sure all of you will. And through that, he'll always live on.
we have one more video to play. Well, we have a couple things, but Leyden, Ellen's granddaughter, and my dad, on the other side, couldn't make it, so she had a little video that they were going to play on her behalf. And then from there, we'll go into a wonderful video that Brandon made, and sadly, as I said, he couldn't come here, but he made it all. It's beautiful. And that's it, and I just want to say thank you, because I don't know if I'll have the chance, on behalf of Jodi, Kendra, all of us. It means so much to have a room full of people Like we thought that maybe there'll be like 5 people coming. Like, and I know we joke and laugh, but if you know my father, you know, you never know. Anyhow, truly, like looking around, and it's like there's so much love and so much to be grateful for, and I'm so grateful that my dad's one friend is here. One. Anyhow, and I should say Annie, his sister, wasn't able to make it. She's with her, taking care of her husband, you know, at home. And Randi, his sister, was able to come in, which means the world. And it's interesting is, you know, the kids talk about cousins and stuff like that. It's like you have Rob, you have Stacy, and they were our life as well growing up. And my everything, Richard and Alana, like, I love you guys so much. It's just, it's wonderful. It's full circle, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Dana, you're not forgotten, sorry. I'm just saying in general, it's just really wonderful who shows up, and never will forget. So thank you all for coming. I don't know who's, like, is there someone above us?
I remember when I was younger and I had given previous speeches for family members that had passed, and Donnie always told me that he wanted me to speak at his funeral. I would joke and say, "This is my speech." Donnie, what a guy. And that was the end of it. But this is truly what I have to say. This one is for you, Donnie. Where do I begin? I could talk about the countless times that he asked for a sandwich or gave me crap about something random that happened in my life. But today, the Donnie I remember is the person who accepted my grandma and our family as his own. He would come to my softball games and other functions and made me feel so special. He didn't have to go to my games, but he wanted to, and I will forever be grateful for one of my biggest fans. Donnie was a stubborn man, but we got along great because of our sarcasm. I would give his crap straight back to him, and he loved it as well as I. The most important thing to him was his family, and he wanted the best for us. I consider him one of my grandparents, and I am truly blessed to have had him in my life. Now, Grandma, go make me a sandwich. Thank you.
Tell us, how does this feel?
Oh, it feels just wonderful.
Would you describe this as the greatest thrill of your life?
This is the greatest moment of my brief career.
How about your brothers?
My grandpa was the kind of man whose love didn't need loud words to be felt, as loud as he was. It was in everything he did. He loved his 2 daughters with a quiet, unwavering devotion, always putting their happiness before his own. But it was in his role as a grandfather where his heart truly shined. We were his pride, his joy, the center of his world. He cared so deeply about our happiness, always asking about our lives, cheering us on, and showing up with a warmth that made us feel safe and deeply loved. He didn't try to change us or mold us into something else. He simply wanted us to be happy, and he made sure we knew we were enough just as we were. Losing him feels like a hole has been carved in all of us, but the love he gave us, that unconditional, generous love, will stay with us forever. And in that, he's never really gone.
We love you. I'm too old. Anyways, I wanted to thank everybody for coming. And also, I think I've taught my children and the grandchildren that family is the most important thing. And if I have a legacy to leave, that would be it. So, I love you all.
Right. So Brandon's ongoing joke is that for Jodi, his mother, that he would take obnoxious pictures of her and turn it into like Jay Leno and so if anyone noticed, it was there. Like just for that split second, he put it there. Sorry, I didn't tell you. All right. So anyhow, mother, dearest, my beautiful mother is going to come up and lead us in the mourner's Kaddish. I said it wrong before. I love you, Mommy.
Okay, if you take your brochures and open it to the 23rd Psalm. You're going to read it all together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Now, you could turn to the El Male Rachamim, and I'm going to read it in English, so the translation. O God, full of compassion, who dwells on high, grant true rest upon the wings of the Shekinah, divine presence, in the exalted spheres of the holy and pure, who shine as the resplendence of firmament to the soul of Donald Larry Israel, Daniel Leib, Ben Herschel, Chaiki, okay, who has gone to his supernal world, for charity has been donated in remembrance of his soul. May his place of rest be in Gan Eden. Therefore, may all the merciful one shelter him with cover of his wings forever and bind his soul in the bond of life. The Lord is heritage. May he rest in his resting place in peace. And let us say, Amen. And lastly, but before lastly, I just want to say that I was fortunate to know Donald for 58 years. And in those 58 years, I got to see him with his children as babies, as toddlers, as adults. And it was just very fortunate to be able to do that. And in the last couple years, be able to share some good memories and good moments with him while he was in the nursing home. With that, please rise for the mourner's Kaddish, those who want to say it. If you don't, and the mourners. Yiskadal, say it with me, please. Yiskadal, v'yiskadash, shmei rabah. Trama di virhute, v'amlich malchute berachon uvchayachon. Uvchaye d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvzman kariv v'mru amen. Ye shlama rabba v'morach laham ulmamei almaya. Yisbarach v'yistabach v'yisapar v'yisman v'yisasei v'yithadar v'yatle v'yathalal shema d'kedishu baruchu. Baruch v'shirita baruched v'chamata damrin lo alama v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaye v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'marav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Thank you for being here, and go in love and peace. And I think Susan will come in. Yeah, she's gonna come. Okay, thank you.
Once again, I'd like to announce that the Shiva will be observed at the Gassel residence immediately following the service today, 927 North Leamington Avenue in Glenview. This does conclude the service. You may exit through the side doors. Thanks.